If you are a chosen one, you will have instances back to your childhood where you can remember certain things or certain situations happening. And it may have seemed like a coincidence at the time. Like, I remember being on medication, and I would always have this feeling like someone was either watching me or someone was waiting to attack, or just a feeling that, I was being watched. You may have certain events that may have happened in your life, certain people around you that you thought were there to be loving, to be supportive, and then come to find out that that person may have helped you a little bit, but then they have an ulterior motive. Being someone that is chosen, you have to know how to protect your energy space. People that are swapping spiritually, you have to know when the times were good for that person and when that time has expired. And sometimes that could be really hard, especially when you love or you care about a person and you feel like they're going to always be there or always be a certain way or a certain place in your life. So that can definitely be difficult. One thing that you have to be aware of, especially when you're on the brink of accomplishing something big, and then something so drastic happens to you out of nowhere, and it's really like a gut punch, and you're not sure, if you could go on. So when my daughter passed away last year in August, it really shut me down for a minute, and I felt like I wasn't really sure if I could get through a lot of the stuff that I was going through to get back to the point where I know I was always supposed to be at, where I was always supposed to be sharing and letting my light shine and helping someone else. Whether it's sharing my experience, sharing my thoughts. When you're right on the brink of something, it just seems like something major could happen. And if you let that be the deterrent to stop you or slow you down, it's always going to be something in life that could stop you, that could slow you down. But you have to understand that those energies, those situations were put here to do so. You may not always have the steps, you may not always have the words, but you do have to know that you got to keep going. You got to keep trying, because if you let that stuff keep you still, in stillness sometimes is where those spiritual entities can catch up to you and cause you to be in places or do things that you wouldn't normally do. I spent so much time just worrying about doing it in the right way or presenting it the right way, having the perfect, gotta let that truck pass, having the perfect setup, having the perfect words. And just like, being out here, before I came out here, it was like a bee on the porch, and I was worried about that bee stinging me. And it's like I'm almost still listening to the buzz, but it's not letting fear get to me, is not gonna release the message that I need to release into this space and into the universe. It seemed like it wasn't a lot of cars passing by, but now it is. So we're just gonna keep it moving. I have a little microphone that I could plug up. It's in the house, but I'm not gonna plug that right now. So I'm hoping that you could hear me. Maybe the next video I will go ahead and plug that microphone back in. Being aware of different energies that are around you. Sometimes those energies can work through substances, whether it's drugs, weed, alcohol, or it could work through people that we love. Growing up, I was never a person that looked towards drugs or looked towards substances to sustain me. But when I went through a very discouraging period in my life about 10 years ago, I did start smoking Mary Jane. And I had became so heavily dependent on it that I didn't realize just how dependent on it that I was. I haven't smoked since December 7th. Part of me still wants to partake, and part of me sees the improvements from me not partaking. Like, I have a lot of people that'll be like, hey, you gained back some weight and it looks like healthy weight. And I guess so much of me thought I could be more productive. My thoughts flow more fluently when I was smoking, but not realizing how much it cost and it sacrificed me, or how much I was giving, in that situation. If you are a person that is a smoker and maybe you're growing your own stuff and you're being aware and conscious of what you're taking in your body and not just taking everything that they're pushing out on the streets, that's your choice. The main thing you have to be conscious and aware of is what's really happening around me. What situations, is it advancing me or putting me in a place where I am doing better or I am succeeding? Not just a comfort method of it's making you comfortable while you're doing it and you don't feel anything, or you feel like you have anxiety, you feel like you have this going on or you have that going on. Anxiety is a normal part of the human experience, and it's not a state that you want to stay in all the time, because I think if you stay in a state of anxiety, it can get you to feeling down low and it can get you depressed. But what you want to ask yourself is, what is the message that's coming from that? Why do you feel anxious? Is it something that you were supposed to be doing? Is it something that you were supposed to be working on? It's almost like an internal timer that we have in this human experience to remind us that there was something that we were supposed to be doing. It's something that I'm supposed to be working on. And when you're not working on those things, or you're not doing the mission that you were sent here to do, it can make you feel bad inside. It can bring up those bad feelings, and it could bring up just all sorts of things and have you feeling like either you're doing something wrong, or you feel better while you're smoking. It makes you feel more productive. It makes you feel like you're on top of the world. Your creative juices are flowing. But believe it or not, before we smoke or we take on any drugs, we already have those creative juices that were built into us from birth. Something that the source that we have gotten from the source. God source, God energy, whatever you identify with or call it, but we've already had that from the source. And when you tap into that energy space, you realize that, like, this is something that I was already instilled with. I don't need this particular substance to make me flourish. And all the feelings come with it when you stop. You have those hangover feelings. You may have those feelings in your stomach, like, I'm not getting anything done, or I'm such a nicer person while I'm doing it. And that's when you have to really stop and tap into that source energy. You were already given all the things that you needed before you got here. So it's just a matter of really tapping back into that and saying, it's already here. I already had it. It's not anything that I have to rely on this for. I have to rely on that for. You'll start to see the glow within yourself when you stop. Whether you start or you stop, that's going to be totally your decision. So someone around you could stop or not do something, but if it's not genuinely in your heart to do so, then it's not going to be something that sticks, or it's not going to be something that you want to do. If you're a person that's chosen, you will have certain experiences. Like I said, back in my childhood, I would have experiences, or people around me, people that are placed into your life, and it seems like they're supposed to be there, like they fit perfectly. Like, when you stop talking to that person, it could almost seem like the end of the world, or an end of a world. And sometimes people are placed in our lives for a reason, but when spiritual entities hop around, or they invade, or they download energies, or they bring themselves into spaces, it may not even be the same person that you knew or loved. You could have a spiritual energy that follows you from the time that you were born throughout your whole life, and it seems like they were inside of a person that was just meant to be there with you forever. It could be a sibling, it could be a cousin, it could be a best friend. And it's like, to you, you're like, okay, I know this person was supposed to be here, or they are supposed to be here while I'm on this journey. But then they change, or they do something totally unexpected, or something that's not like them. And you're like, where did this come from? And a lot of that is just being spiritually aware that energies can jump. Energies can go into people that you love. I call it an energy. You could call it a demon. You could call it a vampire. You could call it whatever you want to identify with. But just know that when you are chosen, you are going to deal with things like this, situations like this, whether it's feeling like you have an idea, something that you want to act on, and you may feel crazy about it, or you may keep getting that feeling from day to day, like one day like I could do this, and then the next day it's like I can't do this. A feeling of feeling depression throughout the day, or just feeling like you just really don't know if you could do something or if you got it in you. Like I said, especially after something real bad happens. Because when I went through the experience of death, which was my first experience, it really opened me up in a way that I didn't know that I could be opened up in. I've always had this happy, jolly spirit, and it's always been like, okay, we could do anything that we put our mind to, reach for success, reach for your goals. But to be broken down and torn in that way really opened me to a world of fearlessness. It's like you're still concerned, you still care, but then you have this other element of you that's new and different. And it's like, I know that there's other stuff now. I know that it's something beyond this physical. And a lot of the spiritual attributes means a lot, even though sometimes we may not take it as serious, but it definitely weighs. And just being able to identify with that and to tap in with that and just protect your space is so very important. If you are someone that is struggling and you have to really watch yourself moment by moment, day by day, you have to play things that are going to uplift your spirits, because more sad stuff brings on more sad stuff. So if your spirits are already down and you're listening to sad music, or you're watching sad movies and you just have that on repeat, and you are tapping into things that drain your energy and you don't even realize it, things like that can get you down. You have to make a conscious decision to say, let me tap into something that's going to bring my energy up. Let me tap into something that's going to remotivate me, re-inspire me. Let me know that, hey, I can hang it here. I can do this. I can still accomplish whatever mission I came and set out to do. You may not always remember that off the bat, but when you start tapping into things and you just step outside, get in the sun, start eating and drinking things that are good for you. A lot of times people don't realize that we don't feel good simply because what we're eating and drinking. That gut health, the feelings that come from your gut really affects your brain and tell your brain how to feel. A lot of people think feelings just come from your brain. As you know, you feel something, you wake up and you exercise, or you may write your positive quotes down in the morning. A lot of that is routine, but what you're eating can definitely affect what you're thinking and how you're feeling. That gut is telling your brain how to feel. It's not just your brain working and doing everything. What you're putting in your body. Are you putting stuff in your body that's good for it? I know that people may argue to say, well, all the food is not fresh nowadays, or it's not organic, or it's GMO. Okay. But what are you consciously making a decision to put in your body? Your body is tapping into that and it's aware. Are you eating fast food most of the times, or are you making an effort to get out in the sun, to get some vitamin D? Are you making an effort to put something in your body that's worthwhile? Something healthy. A lot of people will say, well, I don't like vegetables. I don't like juicing. Do you like feeling crappy? Do you like feeling down or pulled away from your goals? A lot of that has to do with it. Whether you find juicing, you find your version of whatever it is, just find something healthy, a healthy routine, something that you're putting in your body. When you get up in the morning, are you just grabbing your phone and getting on the phone and it's like, okay, before you even get to think, before you even get to write anything positive down on a piece of paper, like, this is what I plan for my day to be like. Before you grab your phone, this is what I'm going to command my day to be. Are you commanding your day? Or you're just getting up doom scrolling, and then hours later you're still wondering why you feel the way you feel. Why do I feel gloomy? Why do I feel sad? Or why do I feel depression? Or why do I feel this throughout the day? Have a plan when you wake up. Command your day. Write it down. When I get up in the morning, I write down what my plan is for my day. Today I plan to have a productive, perfect, and peaceful day. And I repeat that to myself 10 times, whether you need to repeat that to yourself 100 times. Write it down, Say it out loud, because that creates programming in your mind. When you connect your hand to your pen and then you say it out loud, you're speaking these things into existence. In the beginning, there was the word. And you have to speak these things, not just write them, but connect them all around, so that you can bring into your life those things that you desire. I'm about to get up out of here, but I just want to say peace, love, blessings. Until next time. Love you guys.